We are talking about amazing Switch games that you should be playing. This used to be my eShop Hidden Gems video, but with so many games getting physical releases now, this is just 10 new Switch games that I think you should play. And new is relative, it goes back to about March. But I think there's some really amazing games in here, and we're gonna kick things off with something that I have been waiting for like legitimately 3 years. It's a Kickstarter I backed for an RPG called Quartet, and it is absolutely brilliant. You need to check this game out.
I have been waiting for Quartet for a long time. This was a Kickstarter that I had originally backed, I want to say 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. And it was one that I had backed with the promise of a Switch version coming. And I immediately put the money down on it because I thought what they were creating was something really ambitious and really creative. And I loved kind of the design ethic behind what they were making. This was something where they were incredibly open as they went with the problems they were running into, with difficulties they were having. And it was something that I thought was unbelievably fresh and different in what video game development typically is. And as they moved forward and they kept creating and kept iterating on what they were making with Quartet, they've settled into something absolutely beautiful. This is a magnificent JRPG style game. It is beautiful to look at, amazing to hear. The soundtrack in the game is absolutely spectacular. The world is massive and just memorable and full of ideas and concepts that are they're just wonderful. It's truly a remarkable game, and something that I am so happy to have been able to back this when it originally was conceived, because it's just remarkable. It really truly is. I am so thrilled that this exists, and so thrilled that this is something that is out now, and it's on the Switch, and it's brilliant, and it plays wonderfully, and you should play it because it deserves to be played by more people. It's just wonderful. When I initially reviewed South of Midnight on this channel, I said it was an important game, and I stand by that to this day, because I think any game that is going to give you a healthy dose of Southern folklore, a strong person of color female as your protagonist who is flawed and challenged and strong-willed, but also full of mistakes, is something that I think is really cool. She is not a Mary Sue. Hazel is not something that is all-powerful. She is someone that is growing and experiencing and learning about not only her family's past, but her entire culture and her entire history of the different weavers and things like that that are part of what makes South of Midnight great. Not only is this game just full of just amazing folklore and things like that, that would be enough reason for me to play it, but what sets itself apart for me is the fact that you get all this amazing folklore while still getting an incredible video game. The combat in the game is wonderful, the storyline is great, the graphics look so good on the Switch. I know some folks have complained about it, but it might have been that there has been patches since this game originally released and it just is working better now, but I'm not seeing a lot of breakdown from what I had originally played on the Xbox Series X to what I'm seeing here now on the Switch 2. I absolutely love this game. I think this is, again, it's an important title. Anytime that you can support a video game featuring a character like Hazel, it should be done. It's magnificent. Love that Axe Cop has become a video game. So Axe Cop, I used to work in a comic shop back in the early 2010s, like late 2010, early 2011. And I loved it. I used to run the HeroClix tournaments there. I was able to work on toys and things like that. And it was a really fun time to be in comics because there was a lot of really ambitious stuff coming out. And one of the most ambitious things was Axe Cop. So the concept behind Axe Cop is it was a comic book created by a 5-year-old and drawn by his 29-year-old brother. So it is ridiculously simple in concept. Like, it's a cop with an axe. That's all you need to know. And he has a pet robot named Wexer who has machine gun arms. But the brilliance behind it is when you realize exactly how unbelievably creative 5-year-olds can be, and ridiculously violent as well. Like, 5-year-olds are crazy violent. And I loved it. It was something that I just thoroughly enjoyed. I think there was an animated series at one point as well that was also brilliant. But it lends itself incredibly well to a video game. I will tell you, go into the settings and turn down the run speed because the running can get a little bit overwhelming. But the gameplay is wonderful. It is silly. It's irreverent. It's incredibly funny. The combat is traditional JRPG combat. You're able to add different characters to your party. It's just fantastic. I am so thrilled that this game exists. I am shocked that it does, because it's like we're 15 years after the fact now from when Axe Cop was originally created, but it's here, it's wonderful, it's fantastic. I do dig a narrative adventure game, and Mixtape is a really, really solid narrative adventure game. I don't necessarily think it's the perfect 10 out of 10 that a lot of people are grading it as, but I think there's something really special here. As someone who grew up loving music and listening to music constantly, this is so aligned with kind of the way my brain worked in the 90s when I was in high school. Music was incredibly important to me. I made mixtapes all the time. I wanted to work in music, or at least do music journalism and things like that. So I am familiar with the desire of the character Stacy wanting to be part of the music industry. And the game is really solid. Like, the voice acting in the game is great. Like, it's necessary to be able to listen to it, because as you play, each kind of like little vignette as you go is going to have different music that's featured, and the music plays a part in the plot. It's really, really solid. I am very impressed by this game. There's some fun events in the game too, like quick time events and things like that, where you're going to have interactions and things like that. But it is primarily a narrative adventure game where you're going to be going around and just kind of discovering the story of these characters and kind of living their life a little bit. It's really, really amazing. Machine Gun Fury is simple and easy to understand and fun to play. It is a version of Commando, really, or kind of like Jackal in a way, but it's more Commando, more Gunsmoke. You can hop into vehicles and use them to blow things up, but typically you're going to be on your feet. It's fast, it's unforgiving, it's difficult, it's spectacular. It really is. It's a run and gun shooter where you're able to move around and defeat enemies that are on screen, fight your way to the end of the level, hop in tanks, blow up buildings. Like, it's a classic 16-bit style game, and it's just fantastic. This feels like an arcade game that I never played when I was younger, that I'm just discovering now, and I love it. There's 3 different characters to play from. They all play a little bit differently. They all move a little bit different speeds. They all have different weapons and things like that. It's just wonderful. Check it out. Really solid game. Oh, I think this is my favorite game of the month. This game is so good. So this is called Rune Dice, and okay. Oh, boy. All right. I love deck builders. I love deck builders. Slay the Spire is one of my all-time favorite video games. I think it is just magnificent. And this sneakily is a version of Slay the Spire, or a take on the Slay the Spire franchise by making something truly unique and truly incredible. So you still have the traditional map traversal like you would from Slay the Spire, where you pick your path, and that's the result of what you get. And as you go, you're going to have different paths you're able to choose from. It is limited by what you originally choose. So you need to plan out your strategy and plan out your map. But where this game sets itself apart, and where this game becomes absolutely magnificently brilliant, is with the combat mechanic. So if you ever played Peglin, there was a series of enemies at the top of the screen that would move progressively towards you, but depending on how you dropped the different balls on the screen and removed the pegs from the game, kind of like Peggle, would be how much damage you would do. With this one, it depends on the roll of the dice, and it's not just rolling a d6 or a d20 and, hey, look, I did 5 damage. No, you start with a d6, and it is a single d6. It has a value of 1, and you need to roll it onto the board to collide with another value of 1. And when that happens, a chain reaction will begin where it will start to collide with things of an equal value. So a 1 plus 1 becomes a 2. The 2 will then bounce towards another 2. If the 2 connects with another 2, it then becomes a 3. The 3 will then bounce towards another 3. And if you play your cards right, or your dice right in this case, you can rack up a ton of damage on your enemies. It is absolutely wonderful, and like legit one of the most wonderful experiences I have ever had booting up a game on a chance that it might be good. Like, I liked the concept, but I didn't know if the execution was going to work. And folks, it is amazing. One of my favorite games of the last 10 years was Vampire Survivors, a brilliant, very simple game that you just move a character around on screen and you collect experience points and kill bad guys. You don't even have to press a button to do combat. It'll do the combat for you. And when they announced a sequel called Vampire Crawlers, I was in. And I've already talked about this once on my video where I was talking about games that reminded me of Dungeon Crawler Carl, link on screen right now. but this is one that I needed to call out again here in this video because it is wonderful. It's very, very similar to a lot of traditional dungeon crawler games where it's a first-person perspective, you're moving around a map, but where this game really sets itself apart is with the different power-ups and kind of taking that core experience that we received in Vampire Survivors, where the more experience you gather, the more abilities you're going to get, and those abilities stack and change, and it becomes a deck builder, basically. You are able to collect different cards that do different things, and you're going to use those in combat, and it matters how you set things up and how you play things will do more damage, etc., etc., and it's just spectacular. It is super fun, and just a worthy follow-up to the original Vampire Survivors here. It's really, really fun. So I'm a huge fan of roguelikes, and I love pixel art, and this one has gorgeous pixel art in this like amazing bird-style cyberpunk world with some huge, like, just fantastic neon-soaked skyscapes and amazing combat. Like, the gameplay is wonderful. So it's kind of a traditional platformer hack and slash, but one of the things I really dig about this game is you're actually able to hot swap between different weapons, and each weapon plays a little bit differently, and you can kind of tailor the way you want to play based on which weapon works best for you. If you like to play range, you can throw the hammers at guys. If you want to kind of maybe hit a little bit lighter but a little bit faster, you can use the whip. There's also the traditional katana. It's really, really clever, and I really enjoy this one. This is a really fun game, and something I think if you dig roguelikes or you like kind of hack and slash platformers, I think you'll dig this one too. The Marvel Maximum Collection, cleverly here with a capital X because everyone's coming to the party to play the X-Men arcade game. Let's just pull that one off right away, that Band-Aid. Yeah, the X-Men arcade game's on here. Yeah, it's fantastic. You can play the 2-player, 4-player, 6-player version, and it's wonderful. Like, this is something that we have needed for generations now, to have a physical release of the X-Men arcade game on a home console, and here it is. You can also get some other great games in this collection as well, even though I think the main attraction is Marvel's X-Men. You also have Captain America and the Avengers. You have the arcade release, which is a wonderful beat-em-up. The Super Nintendo Mega Drive Genesis release, which is the kind of a home port of that. And the NES release, which is a wonderful platformer that more people need to play. I actually featured that in another video recently, link on screen right now. There's Spider-Man Venom and Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage, where you get both the Super NES and the Genesis release. This is a great beat-em-up featuring Spider-Man and Venom. There's also Venom Spider-Man Separation Anxiety for the Super Nintendo and Mega Drive version, very similar to Maximum Carnage. Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge, lots of versions of this one. Super Nintendo, Genesis, Portable, which I believe is the Game Boy, and the Gear one, which is the Game Gear release. This game's awful, don't play any of them. And then Silver Surfer for the 8-bit, the NES release. And Silver Surfer needs to be played just for the music alone. The music in the game is spectacular, and if you can get yourself into a rhythm, it's not as bad as everyone says it is. There's also some great archives in here, box art, manuals, things like that, a music selector. It's a great collection. It really is. It's not as strong as stuff from Digital Eclipse, but it's still a great game. Definitely worth checking out. There's a physical release of this as well from Limited Run, so if you live on the East Coast and you can get to the Limited Run store in Cary, North Carolina, it's worth checking out. And finally, we have Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And it's not the years, honey. It's the mileage. I love this game. I loved this game when it originally released on the Series X. I thought it was the best game of the year. It was my game of the year it released, despite only having it for like 3 weeks. When I finally did my countdown, it was that good of a title. I think this game is remarkable, and I was really hoping we would see a Switch 2 release for it, and here it is, and it plays brilliantly well. Still looks great. There are some shadow artifacting and things like that just, system limitation. It's going to be a thing that you're going to run into. But for the most part, the look of the game is amazing. The soundtrack is signature Indiana Jones. The voice acting is remarkable. The gameplay is wonderful. It's a mix of first person and third person, but it's like a 95-5% mix, like 95% first person, 5% third person. Like third person only really comes into play when you're climbing or swinging on the whip or something like that. But it's an incredible game. It was my favorite game of the year. This is still one of my favorite games, and playing it on the Switch is a breath of fresh air. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm so happy that this exists. There's a physical now, like a legitimate physical with an actual cartridge. It's wonderful. The whole game is on there. It's wonderful. I'm thrilled. It's an absolutely spectacular addition to any collection, and I think it's a must-own for a Switch 2 owner.
Quartet, one of the best RPGs I have played in a long time. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a fantastic title that shows what the Switch 2 is capable of. And then something like Rune Dice, which is such a great kind of twist and spin on what something like Slay the Spire was. It's been a great period of time for games on the Nintendo Switch, and there's some amazing games on this list. Let me know which one looks most appealing to you. How cool is it to get an Axe Cop video game, by the way? That was one of my favorite comic strips for a long time, one of my favorite webcomics. Axe Cop is brilliant. If you haven't checked it out, if you don't know Axe Cop, be sure to check the link in the description, because it's a brilliant, hilarious, chaotic, and like ridiculously violent comic created by a 5-year-old. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. Check the playlist on screen right now if you want to see the rest of my eShop Hidden Gems videos from the past, or you just want to stick around and check out the rest of the channel. Please be sure to subscribe. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending some time with me tonight. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.